Welcome to the interview series of videos on the Billy Meier Books YouTube channel. The interview series is a collection of questions that I asked 14 volunteers to answer. In this video, the question was, what does self-responsibility mean to you? Self-responsibility is a core concept in Billy Meier's teaching, which is collectively entitled Teaching of the Truth, Teaching of Creation Energy, Teaching of Life. Self-responsibility is connected to many things in our life, and we are fortunate to have 14 people who had the willingness and courage to share their understanding of self-responsibility publicly. One way to watch this video is from the standpoint of listening to the participants and what they have to say about self-responsibility, simply gaining knowledge. In addition to this first way, there's another way you could watch this video. This is through the observation of your thoughts and feelings during the explanations of self-responsibility. This means that when you're listening to their answers, you're also observing your own thinking and feelings that are produced while listening to the explanations. So, what would this be like? Generally, as we listen to other people's explanations, we make assessments of what we hear. We compare what we hear with what we already know. We think to ourselves, that makes sense to me, or I don't agree, or that's a new or different way of thinking about self-responsibility that I hadn't thought of. This is an exercise to observe our internal assessments, to observe how we react. So, whether you watch this video the first way, by listening to the explanations and simply gather knowledge, or the second way, by also observing your own thinking and feelings as you listen to the explanations, I hope you enjoy these 14 different perspectives of self-responsibility. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer. These are 14 individual points of view on what self-responsibility means to them. What does self-responsibility mean to you?
Take care of you first before you take care of anybody else. And so I feel like for instance, when you go on a plane and they tell you, if the oxygen goes away, make sure you put your mask and then you put it on somebody else. Same thing. Take care of you first to be able to help anybody else. Because if you're not healthy, if you're not in peace and harmony or center, how do you expect to help anybody else? You gotta lead by example per se. And so if you take care of you, then you can take care of anybody else. And that's also something that I learned here. When I was trying to become a member, they told me, make sure you take care of you first, and then you pay the fees. Who says that, right? Like, okay. So that's what it means to me.
For me, self-responsibility means to be able to think about my thought process, to analyze the actual reality in here and now. With other words, I have the ultimate responsibility to control my thoughts. For example, if I notice that I have negative thoughts towards something, I have the ultimate also responsibility to control my negative thoughts and turn them into neutral positive thoughts, if you like. So, because as we know, from the thoughts come the feelings, and then from the feelings the actions, and the last thing I want is negative outcomes and reactions from it. So one of the best things I can do as a responsible person is to make sure I meditate, I put a lot of effort to be able to consciously develop my consciousness, and this happens obviously by studying the creational energy teaching, which is brought to us by Billy Meier.
Again, that's kind of a similar thing about what we're talking about in terms of I have to be honest with myself as much as possible, and so I have to work on myself as an earth human in this time with a lot of religious swinging waves swinging around like rocks sometimes. I need to take care of my psyche, and as I've grown older and realized that my body doesn't respond to healthier activities as quickly as it used to, it means being more sincere about taking care of the vessel that my spirit is living in at this moment.
What does self-responsibility mean to you?
喺我生活嘅環境入邊呢，其實我身邊係唔係好多人有信仰嘅，咁有嘅都係一啲好世俗嘅信仰，例如拜神啦，或者去即係當自己遇到挫折，或者係啲冇辦法擺脱嘅一啲問題嘅時候，咁我見到身邊有人就會去請嗰啲所謂大師去為佢哋排憂解難。其實喺我眼中呢啲大師其實都係呃神騙鬼嘅。咁佢哋其實就係一種好簡單嘅邏輯，我俾錢，我拜某個大師，跟住我就可以同等咁樣獲得去財富或者好運。我覺得呢種咁嘅思維其實就係人類一啲好唔合理嘅思維。所以其實我係睇到問題之後，我會意識得到其實每一個人嘅命運係由自己決定嘅。特別我細個嗰陣時，我家庭經歷過一個好長時期嘅經濟困難。咁因為呢個經濟困難，我會思考更多，會去觀察周圍嘅人嘅言行，而慢慢我會意識得到，其實每一個人嘅言行其實就係影響佢，即係每一日積累落嚟嘅言行係影響佢最終嘅人生嘅命運嘅。所以我讀到 Billy Meier 嘅Gedanken 嘅時候，我好清楚呢本書入邊講到嘅提到嘅一啲內容係非常非常準確，同埋非常適合所有人去閱讀。因為每一個人去閱讀嘅時候，先會理解得到自己嘅責任，同埋點樣去令到自己可以改變。其實每一個人都可以改變，每一個人都可以成為更好嘅人。
Self-responsibility means that you are responsible for yourself, but also for the others, for other people that you may meet if they need some help. Self-responsibility in every direction is necessary to have a good life, not to be dependent on others, on society. You have to, when you work, you have to put the hard work, the money that you earn during your hard work, you have to keep it when you get old, when you are not anymore able to work. So you don't need to be others. Society doesn't need to look after you. That's self-responsibility. If it's possible for the human beings to be as more as possible responsible for himself and for the others, that's for me self-responsibility. But the same has to arise also for the protection of nature and for the earth also, because each earth human is responsible for where he lives and for his planet.
For me, most of all, it's really taking control and responsibility of my own thoughts and my actions as well, but not searching for someone or something else to blame or give credit for. Also, give credit where it's due, of course, but like if it's good, but not to like get out of the way of oneself and put yourself down, be kind to yourself, but also take responsibility for when you screw up or if you make a mistake. And also in the practical sense of like just everyday living too. Just there's endless examples, but really taking control of your thoughts and be responsible for your own thoughts.
What does self-responsibility mean to you?
I am the alpha and omega of everything. And it may sound like arrogance, but me being here with you, I'm responsible for that. A person on the other side of the universe that is in pain and suffering, I'm responsible for that. It's in my awareness, it's in my consciousness, it's in that. Now the question is how do I affect that? How can I affect change on the other side of the universe? Because, you know, we go back and in a lot of these New Age movements, or even this movement, you know, we have an idea of a oneness. And that oneness doesn't stop because of distance. And we need to understand that. And so when there's someone hurting or someone calling for that fix or that change or something that's needed, we're there. I don't know how to get to the other side of the universe right now, but I can do it in my own backyard. I can work on myself. And when I work on myself, when the opportunity arises to help someone, I will be prepared to do so.
Self-responsibility is accepting reality for what it is and take charge where you can, where you're allowed. You know, admit your mistakes, try to move forward past those and learn from those, and try not to repeat the same mistakes again. And if you happen to, and it's usually going to be in a slightly different way, but make sure you always learn something from it, and make sure there's something positive, and try to keep yourself equalized as much as possible so you don't fall into negative thinking of the Hazautang and not able to gain might over your thinking process. So being responsible is accept reality, try to work with it to improve it, and understand the cause and effect of everything, every thought, every feeling, every action that you take. It will go as a ripple effect around you. So you always have to keep that in mind.
What does self-responsibility mean to you?
That's self-responsibility is perhaps the most important factor or aspect of my life. Having realized that I'm fully responsible for anything I do, and that it's in my capacity to know what I'm thinking, to control what I'm thinking, and taking over responsibility for everything I do, and also for not doing something. Sometimes it makes sense to not do something. I don't have to kill a person to know that it's not good. It is false and gives a false conscience impulses from within, and so that's self-responsibility is the main factor that is neglected by many people because they have a false interpretation of mistakes. They think from their religious thinking, they think making mistakes is a sin, and so on, and they cannot confirm that they have made a mistake because the confession, having made a mistake, enables one to moving forward. Because, just as I said before, the worst thing perhaps that can happen to you is that you die, but saying I made a mistake is actually, if you are used to it, then it's not a big thing. But for people who want to keep a facade up and so want to appear more that they are, they are having trouble with confessing a mistake. That's stupid because making mistakes is the basic factor of evolution.
What does self-responsibility mean to you?
Yeah, this is when you learn or understand that it's up to that you are to 100% responsible what's happening to you in your life, and that you, by learning to control your thoughts and finding the right purpose in your life and practicing love and love and harmony, even first within yourself, of course, but also with your family and friends and neighbors. Yeah, you can manifest the life you want, everyone want to have, even success.
What does self-responsibility mean to you?
Yeah, that's the tough part. Self-responsibility is a constant challenge for everybody. And to apply it more and more, or to take on. First you have to take on responsibility for yourself. And then if you really do that, then you can also take responsibility for others. So that's certainly the first step, to take self-responsibility. And but also not to forget about it, and sometimes we get lost in other activities, or that other people kind of have, can you help me here, can you help me there, and then you get lost and become kind of too altruistic. That's also possible, and that you forget about yourself. So that's also not good. So that you have to see that you have your time, like Billy writes also, some time for yourself, just for yourself, and every day, and take responsibility for your actions in every regard.
I have to think about this for a second, because there's something else about feelings too, that we need to take responsibility for our own feelings, and the language that we use around feelings can also needs improvement. I think for a lot of people, like you make me feel so good, or that makes me feel terrible. I learned from nonviolent communication also, like Marshall Rosenberg, that because he also teaches to take responsibility for your own thoughts and feelings, and to the language matters. So instead of this makes me feel something, it's that I feel something because of this. So there's a slight difference in language that does make a difference, probably in your subconscious. Like the mission makes me feel great to be part of it. Well, no, it's not. That's not true. I feel great to be part of the mission. You see what I mean? Like it's a small difference, but it's like that's another way that you can take responsibility for your thoughts and feelings, is to investigate the language that we use around it too.
自己責任とは、自分の思考とか行動の結果が全て自分に返ってくることを意味しますね。だから私は何をするのも大変慎重です。20年以上前、私の同僚の女性が遺伝性の病気で亡くなった経験があるんです。彼女は大豆が健康にいいからと大量に大豆食品を食べていました。それなのにその後、1年後には死んでしまいました。コンタクト記録ではビリーとプターの会話の中に大豆の危険性について詳しく論じられています。フィギの種物の熱心な読者なら大豆をたくさん食べることは避けるでしょう。世の中には認識されてない危険が多く存在することも事実なわけです。故に自己責任には常に石橋を叩いて渡るような慎重さが要求されます。
What does self-responsibility mean to you?
For me, it's something that, you know, in life you own. I grew up in a country with a very religious belief and many gods. I often saw people pray. If something good happens, God did it. If something bad happens, God did it. And so I have been seeing this, and it's quite often. And like when I wanted a good marks, I had prayed myself. And when I failed, I blamed as in my teens. So I know that now I realize that the life is all about taking the responsibility in your hand. You own the outcome, and everything is your hand, your responsibility. You have to shoulder it. You have to be responsible for it, and you have to bear. No one's coming to rescue you. That's the way to live life truly, in its true sense.
Self-responsibility teaches me that I alone am accountable for my thoughts, feelings, emotions, decisions, deeds, actions, and behavior, and no one else. I alone am accountable for it. I alone am the master of my own life and destiny. I alone am the master and captain of my own life ship. I steer my ship. I alone am the smith of my own life and destiny, and no one else. It depends on me, based upon self-responsibility, self-accountability, and self-determination.
Now that you've had an opportunity to hear their understanding of self-responsibility, now it's your turn. If you watch this video the first way, to gain knowledge, make a post in the comments on what your understanding of self-responsibility is. If you watch this video the second way, by also observing your own thinking and feelings as you listen to the explanations, make a post in the comments about your experiences. Thank you for watching this interview series video on what does self-responsibility mean to you, and I'll see you in the next video.